And we're joined here in studio by MS Now reporter Maya Eglin. So welcome, my friend. We have Congress, which is about to get a lot more information about Jeffrey Epstein. Members are going to be able to go and look at these unredacted files, those 3 million documents released. What can you tell us about this?
So there's some conditions with this unlimited access to what the Department of Justice has released so far. Take a look at this graphic. 24-hour notice must be given to the Department of Justice by the Congress members. There are no electronics allowed in the room, so everything's going to have to be written by hand. Congress members have to enter alone, alone with no staff, and they will actually be reviewing these files inside a room at the Department of Justice. There's going to be a log kind of documenting how long each Congress member was inside of these rooms as well.
But no restriction necessarily.
No restriction. For the first time, these Congress members are going to be able to see the files that have been released without those black streets, or in some cases, the whole page blocked out, as we've seen on your show, Alex.
So, but if someone wants to go in for 3 hours, they can go in for 3 hours. If somebody else is maybe not looking for anything specific, wants to just get the gist of it, they're there for 15 minutes.
Correct.
They're able to do that.
They're able to do that as long as the Department of Justice is open.
We know also lawmakers are set to hear from Ghislaine Maxwell tomorrow. What do we know about that?
Yeah, so she is going to be testifying before the House Judiciary Committee. This is scheduled for tomorrow. She's going to be appearing virtually from the federal prison that she's currently in Texas. That's where she's serving out the remainder of her 20-year sentence. But we're hearing from her lawyer that she's actually going to be pleading the fifth and might not say anything at all. So let's take a listen to House Representative Stansbury of New Mexico on her thoughts about this.
Okay.
She has clearly been covering not only her own tracks, but shielding other co-conspirators and the very wealthy elite circles in which she traversed and trafficked underage girls to. And we would hope that she would come in and actually provide useful information that would lead to further investigations and potential convictions of those individuals. But it appears that she does not plan to do that.
So big week ahead on Capitol Hill. We'll see Ghislaine Maxwell in that deposition. Attorney General Pam Bondi will actually also be testifying in front of the House Judiciary Committee. And again, for the first time ever, Congress members will have full access to the unredacted files of the Epstein files.
Okay. There's going to be a lot to go through on that, and we'll do so with you again, my friend. Thank you, Maya. Let's bring in former Chief of Staff at the Department of Homeland Security, Miles Taylor, and former U.S. Attorney and MS Now legal analyst, Barbara McQuade. Welcome to you both. So, Miles, Congress members, they get to go through the released Epstein files unredacted this week. Does this put an end to Epstein-related questions from Congress as the administration wants it to? What do you expect will be the focus of Epstein conversation? Let's say we're talking this time next week.
Well, look, I think it's really good that members are going to have the opportunity to dig deeper into the files. But what it doesn't fix is the cover-up leading up to this for the past year. And even in the release of these files, there's been extraordinary controversy. The Justice Department exposing victims and redacting possible co-conspirators, even folks finding out on social media that the letters DON apostrophe T, don't, like Donald Trump, had been blacked out across documents. Very, very strange things throughout these redactions. And that's something that, Alex, folks are going to be looking into for a long time, is how DOJ handled this. It's good that Pam Bondi is going to be testifying before the House Judiciary Committee, because I think she needs to be testifying under oath more than Ghislaine Maxwell needs to. There's a lot of questions still about the president's efforts to cover this up, the president's effort to prevent the release of these files, and again, the nature of the release of those files. However, I will say it's still a good step that members of Congress are going to be able to go in there and see some of those redactions, because it may not give them all the answers they need, but it's going to allow them to get the information they need to ask further questions of people like Pam Bondi under oath and other administration officials who were involved. So that's a step, but don't think of it as a step towards resolution. It's a step towards a proper investigation.
So, Barbara, are there going to be restrictions after the lawmakers look through the unredacted files? We all remember former Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene offered to read aloud on the House floor a list of powerful men that were in the files created by survivors. We don't know if they were in the files. We can presume they were given their 3 million pages at least. But they had given that list to her, right? And Marjorie Taylor Greene said, OK, I'll do it so that they would not risk legal jeopardy. So can lawmakers name names of people who were previously redacted?
Yeah, technically, yes. That's because of the speech or debate provisions in the Constitution that allow people, members of Congress, to make statements on the floor of Congress and cannot be prosecuted for that. Now, just because they can't be prosecuted for a crime doesn't mean that we are going to see people doing that carte blanche. I think that one of the understandings here is this exchange is being done for the purpose of protecting the survivors. But recall that the statute itself, the Epstein Files Transparency Act, said that redaction should not be made merely to save embarrassment or reputations of people who may be listed in them. And so under that theory, then yes, I think we could see members of Congress reciting the names of men who were affiliated with Jeffrey Epstein. Of course, the danger there is some of these claims will have been unsubstantiated. It's one of the reasons the Justice Department does not routinely produce documents. That is, people might make allegations that are wild, that are not true. But lawfully, I don't know that there can be any consequence to a lawmaker who does this. And I'll tell you, Alex, the thing I'm looking for most is whether we see the redactions removed for DOJ's own deliberative processes. Even though, again, the statute required no redaction of these things, the Justice Department did redact them. Will they now produce to Congress their reasons for making the decisions they made? What happened back with Alex Acosta when he was the U.S. attorney down in Miami? Those are some of the questions I think that I have. And it will be interesting to see whether those redactions are removed so that Congress can finally get to the bottom of how the whole Epstein investigation unfolded and was delayed for so many years.